Grandpa Ken's Timetables, Program 6A, Facts to be Solved. This video has two parts. Program 6 explores ways to memorize the 9 facts. Program 6A explores ways to solve the 9 facts, recommended for students grade 6 and higher. The following timetable facts must be memorized or solved. The option is yours. I like to solve them, but we will show you both ways and you decide. Before going on to the next page, stop the video. Write down all these 9 facts on paper to use for a reference if needed during this video, and you will need them. The following 3 multiplication facts are a way to solve them without memorizing them. However, you will need your teacher or parent to help you understand the process for grade 6 and up. For 6 times 6, change the second 6 to 5 plus 1. For 6 times 7, change the 7 to 5 plus 2. And for 6 times 8, change the 8 to 5 plus 3. The following 3 multiplication facts are a way to solve them without memorizing them. However, you will need your teacher or parent to help you understand the process for grade 6 and up. For 7 times 7, change the second 7 to 5 plus 2. For 7 times 8, change the 8 to 5 plus 3. And for 8 times 8, change the second 8 to 5 plus 3. The following 3 multiplication facts are a way to solve them without memorizing them. However, you will need your teacher or parent to help you understand the process. This is for grade 6 and up. For 11 times 11, change the second 11 to 10 plus 1 in brackets. For 11 times 12, change the 12 to 10 plus 2 in brackets. And for 12 times 12, change the second 12 to 10 plus 2 in brackets. I will explain how to solve each of the 9 multiplication facts. The key is to remember to change the second number. For example, 6 times 7 equals 6 times 5 plus 2 in brackets. The 5 plus 2 is equal to the second digit, the 7, in the original question. You must multiply the 6 to both the 5 and the 2. Those are the numbers that are in the brackets. Now you just add the 2 numbers, 30 plus 12, and therefore 6 times 7 equals 42. Each step will be explained, but this solving process is for students in grades 6 and higher. What is the product of 6 times 6? First, you expand the 6. 6 times 6 equals 6 times bracket 5 plus 1. Now you must multiply the 6 to the 5 and the 1, and so then you'll have 6 times 5 plus 6 times 1. They're all in brackets. Now solve 6 times 5, you know that from previously, is 30, and 6 times 1 is 6. Now just add the 2 numbers together. 6 times 6 equals 36. It's that easy, instead of memorizing. What is the product of 6 times 7? Again, you have to expand the second number. 6 times 7 equals 6 times bracket 5 plus 2 bracket. Now you must multiply the 6 times the 5 and times the 2. So you'll have 6 times 5 in brackets plus 6 times 2 in brackets. Now just solve the brackets. 6 times 5, you know that's 30. 6 times 2 is 12. Now just add 30 plus 12, and 30 plus 12 equals 42. A secret when I'm adding like this, I'll add 30 plus the 10, and the 12 is 40 plus 2 is 42. What is the product of 6 times 8? I think you know the pattern now. 6 times 8 equals 6 times bracket 5 plus 3 bracket. The 5 plus 3 is equal to the 8 from the second digit in 6 times 8. Now you must multiply 6 times 5 and 6 times 3 in the brackets. You'll have 6 times 5 bracket plus 6 times 3 bracket. Now just solve them. 6 times 5 equals 30. 6 times 3 equals 18. And when you're adding, add the tens first. So you have 30 plus 10 in the 18 is 40, plus 8 is 48. What is the product of 7 times 7? 7 times 7 equals 7 times bracket 5 plus 2. Now then you must multiply the 7 times the 5 and the 7 times the 2. So you'll have bracket 7 times 5 plus bracket 7 times 2. Now just solve them. 7 times 5 is 35 and 7 times 2 is 14. Now we just add, and we'll add the 10s together. So you have 35 plus 10 is 45 plus 4 equals 49. What is the product of 7 times 8? 7 times 8 equals 7 times bracket 5 plus 3. Bracket, we changed the 8 to 5 plus 3. Now we must multiply 7 times 5 and 7 times 3. So we'll have bracket 7 times 5 plus bracket 7 times 3. Now you just solve. 7 times 5 equals 35 plus 7 times 3 equals 21. Now add, we change the 21 to 10 plus 1. So let's just add the 10s together. 35 plus 10 is 45 plus 10 is 55 plus 1 is 56. Therefore, 7 times 8 equals 56. What is the product of 8 times 8? 8 times 8 equals 8 times, change the 8 to bracket 5 plus 3. Now you must multiply the 8 to the 5 and the 3. So now you'll have 8 times 5 bracket plus 8 times 3 bracket. Now just solve them. Equal to 40 plus 24. Change the 24 to 10 plus 4. Now just add 40 plus 10 is 50 plus 10 is 60 plus 4 is 64. Therefore, 8 times 8 equals 64. What is the product of 11 times 11? 11 times 11 equals 11 times bracket 10 plus 1 bracket. But we must multiply the 11 to the 10 and to the 1. So now we'll have bracket 11 times 10 bracket plus bracket 11 times 1 bracket. 11 times 10 equals, write down the 11 and put the 0, 110, and 11 times 1 is equal to 11. Now separate the 11 to 10 plus 1. So 110 plus 10 equals 120 plus 1 is 121. What is the product of 11 times 12? 11 times 12 equals 11 times bracket 10 plus 2 bracket. We change the 12 to 10 plus 2. Now we must multiply 11 times the 10 and 11 times the 2. So we'll have bracket 11 times 10 bracket plus bracket 11 times 2 bracket. Now we just solve. 11 times 10 equals, write down the 11, put a 0 beside the 11, is 110, and 11 times 2 equals 22. Now we change the 22 to 10 plus 2, and we just add. So 110 plus 10 is 120, 120 plus 10 is 130, plus 2 is 132. Therefore, 11 times 12 equals 132. What is the product of 12 times 12? 12 times 12 equals 12 times bracket 10 plus 2 bracket. We change the 12 to 10 plus 2. Now we must multiply the 12 times the 10 and the 12 times the 2 within the bracket. So that equals bracket 12 times 10 bracket plus 12 times 2 bracket. Now we solve. 12 times 10 equals, write down the 12 and put the 0, equals 120, plus 12 times 2 equals 24. Now we change the 24 to 10 plus 4, and we add. 120 plus 10 is 130, plus 10 is 140, plus 4 is 144. Therefore, 12 times 12 equals 144. Let's play Jeopardy! Test number 1. Using 6 times 6, 6 times 7, and 6 times 8, Write the multiplication question for each of the products. Number 1. What is the timetable question for the product of 42? Number 2. What is the timetable question for the product of 48? And number 3. What is the timetables question for the product of 36? The answers are on the next page. Test number 1, results. Number 1. What is the timetable question for the product of 42? Is 6 times 7. Number 2. What is the timetable question for the product of 48? Is 6 times 8. And number 3. What is the timetables question for the product of 36? That is 6 times 6. Test number 2. Using 7 times 7, 7 times 8, and 8 times 8, write the multiplication question for each of the following products. Number 1. What is the timetable question for the product of 56? Number 2. What is the timetable question for the product of 64? And number 3. What is the timetable question for the product of 49? The answers are on the next page. Test 2 results. Number 1. What is the timetable question for the product of 56? That's 7 times 8. Number 2. What is the timetable question for the product of 64? That's 8 times 8. And number 3. What is the timetable question for the product of 49? And that is 7 times 7. Test number 3. Using 11 times 11, 11 times 12, and 12 times 12 questions, write the multiplication question for each of the products. Number 1. What is the timetable question for the product of 132? Number 2. What is the timetable question for the product of 144? And number 3. What is the timetable question for the product of 121? The answers are on the next page. Test number 3, the results. What is the timetable question for the product of 132? It's 11 times 12. Number 2, what is the timetable question for the product of 144? It is 12 times 12. And question number 3, what is the timetable question for the product of 121? It is 11 times 11. May every student master their multiplication facts.